Welcome all to today's interactive session on overdangers. Today we will be discussing on different aspects of overdangers. Overdanger is usually asked as a short note or a short essay. So we will just go through the basics of overdangers and uh, if you have any doubt you can message me in the WhatsApp group. We will discuss and clarify it. With no delay, let me start with the interaction. Definition. As a glossary of prosthodontic terms define overdangers as any removable dental prosthesis that covers and rest on one or more remaining natural teeth, the roots of natural teeth, and or dental implants. Or it's been defined as a dental prosthesis that covers and is partially supported by natural teeth, natural tooth roots, and or dental implants. So, from the definition itself, it has been quite clear that you have two types of overdangers. That is, one is tooth supported overdanger, and the other one being implant supported overdanger. So, here we will be emphasizing more on tooth supported overdangers. You have other category which is the implant supported overdangers. Implant supported overdangers are used in those cases wherein you don't have any teeth at all. That means the patient is completely edentulous and later on he wants an overdanger or he wants a more retentive danger wherein you place the implant and you give an overdanger on top of that implant. The basic principle behind tooth supported and implant supported overdangers in designing and other aspects is almost same. The difference is being one is a tooth wherein you have a periodontal membrane to support the remaining natural teeth or tooth roots. The implant is the one which is being used to give the retention, which is osseous integrated into the remaining residual alveolar bone. So the other synonyms for overdangers are overlay danger, overlay prosthesis, and superimposed prosthesis. So some literature you get overlay danger or in overlay prosthesis, which is almost the same. That is, they are talking about overdangers. So these are the synonyms. Please keep in mind that the synonym names for overdangers. Sometimes to confuse you, the examiner might ask you what is an overlay danger. So you don't have to get confused. You can straight away proceed, or you straight away can say the definition of over danger, because overlay danger is nothing but it is just a synonym of over danger. So these are the two types, as I have mentioned earlier in the definition. That is tooth supported overdanger and implant supported overdanger. You can see the tooth supported overdanger as well as implant supported part of in the mouth preparation, how it looks that for tooth supported overdanger and an implant supported overdanger. The prosthesis comes and fits on top of these prepared abutments, which takes up the load and distributes the load between the remaining natural teeth as well as the residual alveolar ridge. In the implant supported, the implant as well as the remaining residual alveolar ridge takes up the load and distributes it along the long axis as well as along the residual alveolar ridge. So the two types are tooth supported overdanger and implant supported overdanger. Now we will see what are the advantages, disadvantages, indications, contraindications for overdanger. The greatest advantage of overdanger is it preserve the remaining residual alveolar ridge. So you have seen so many cases of complete danger cases. Most of the cases you have a limited amount of remaining residual alveolar ridge due to resorption. So with the retention of tooth or tooth roots, what we are doing is we preserve the remaining alveolar bone. So the longevity of the prosthesis as well as the amount of residual alveolar ridge remaining after years of usage of overdanger will be comparatively more than a patient using a complete danger. So the greatest advantage considered under an overdanger is preservation of alveolar ridge. Then the patient will have a proprioception. So patient will be happy to have that proprioceptive feature associated with him, because it helps in a lot many ways. So because of the remaining natural teeth, there will be a proprioception, which is a kind of psychological advantage to the patient. Then improved retention with the attachments, which is being incorporated into the overdenture. So always the main complaint of a complete denture wearer is lack of retention. So this problem can be solved to a certain extent by giving an overdenture, or by giving some kind of attachments onto the remaining natural teeth, or by using an implant and attachment on the implant. The retention of the processes will be improved and the patient will be extremely happy. So the next and important advantage of overdentures is improved retention. Then as you have tooth as well as improved residual alveolar ridge because of the remaining natural teeth, the horizontal and the torquing forces will be minimized. What I would like to say that the stability of the processes will be comparatively more than a complete denture patient. So the advantage, again an advantage, is increased stability. Then excellent support will be provided by the abutments which is been restored and maintained in the oral cavity. So again, support means it improves the longevity. Then psychological boost to the patient, because you are not extracting all the natural teeth, you are retaining some natural teeth. So patient will have a psychological, few patients will have a psychological advantage, saying that my few teeth are there in the oral cavity, or it's still there, it's still functioning. So that some in cases provide a psychological boost. And the another advantage is convertibility into complete danger in future. So you plan for an overdenture, and the patient had a few remaining natural teeth which provided support for an overdenture. In due course, because of some reason, maybe the lack of oral hygiene, or maybe some other reason, or endodontic failure or periodontal failure, the tooth gave away. So what you can do is, you can anytime you can convert that overdenture into a normal complete denture. So these are the advantages of an overdenture. So the advantages: preservation of alveolar ridge, maintenance of proprioception, improved retention with attachments, horizontal and torquing forces are minimized because of the retained abutments. Then excellent support for the processes by the abutment, psychological boost to the patient, and convertibility into complete danger in the future if the remaining abutment tooth to give away because of some periodontal or endodontical reasons. The disadvantages with overdentures are the carry susceptibility of abutments. So, as old age people, they might have limited dexterity. So, the maintenance of oral hygiene might get compromised on the due course, and there is more possibility of secondary caries, and this is considered as the major disadvantage with overdentures, that is scary susceptibility of abutments. Next is periodontal breakdown due to again ineffective oral hygiene practice, plaque accumulation calculus, and periodic checkup failure. All those things would lead to periodontal breakdown. So this is considered as the second most reason, or second disadvantage with overdentures. Then compared to a normal complete denture, since you have some part of the teeth as well as some attachments over that teeth for improved retention. So the space required for fabricating an overdenture is always more compared to the normal complete denture. So that is another major disadvantage. If there is limited interarch space, then it will be difficult for you to fabricate an overdenture. So the next disadvantages is increased interarch space. Then over contoured denture base at area of abutment. So you are retaining few teeth to take support for, or to create increased retention. So what happens is, there is always a possibility that the residual alveolar ridge just labial to those teeth will have a kind of undercut, and engaging those undercuts will be difficult. So you need to block out those undercuts. So in due course of blocking out, what happens is the danger base or the record base will be built bit protruded or may jet out in that particular area. So in some cases there will be a slight compromise of aesthetics, or the patient might complain of a bulkier feeling on that particular area wherein you have retained natural teeth or tooth roots for increased retention. So the bulkier nature, over contoured danger base are all disadvantages. And another disadvantage is the increased cost. So I cannot say it is as a disadvantage, but in our scenario, this can be considered as a disadvantage, because most of the patients may not be able to afford this increased cost and increased maintenance cost. So that can be considered as a disadvantage. But prioritizing the disadvantage carries susceptibility, periodontal breakdown, more in the arch space, and over contoured or bulkier over danger or record base is considered superior as a disadvantage. In meanwhile, you can add the cost also as a disadvantage. So the indications for an overdanger, here we will be talking about tooth supported overdanger only, because you are planning for a rehabilitation with teeth present. So implant supported overdangers are considered in those patients who are already a complete danger wearer and wants increased retention. So you don't have much options. That is the only sole point of treatment. Only a requirement for that patient is increased amount of residual alveolar ridge, or amount of alveolar ridge for implant placement. So here the indications, we are more focusing on tooth supported overdanger. The first indication for overdanger in the treatment scenario is a patient reporting with a few remaining teeth with unfavorable distribution. So you cannot classify it as a normal class 1 or maybe a class 1 with only 2 or 3 teeth remaining, rest all missing. So you cannot provide a removable partial danger to those patient, or maybe a class 1 with 2, 3, or 4 modification space, and that is widely distributed. So there are unwanted fulcrum lines or unwanted leverage force acting onto the processes if you are planning for a removable dental processes or RPD. So in these cases, you can opt for an overdanger, tooth supported overdanger. So the first indication is few remaining teeth with unfavorable distribution. Then the second indication is severe loss of periodontal attachment of remaining teeth. Patient reported with remaining natural teeth, but very grossly periodontally involved, and you cannot take support from that particular teeth. So the chances of a failure if you plan for an RPD is more. So in those cases also, it is better to opt for an overdanger rather than patient going for removable dental process or RPD. So severe loss of periodontal attachment of remaining natural teeth. So the patient will not get a good treatment if you plan for a RPD, because you cannot take support from the remaining natural teeth, or you cannot take retention from the remaining natural teeth because of lack of periodontal attachment. Then the posteriorly edentulous patient with attrition of remaining anterior teeth. This is another case wherein you cannot take much support from the remaining anterior teeth. So in this case also, it is better to go for a overdanger, because there is always a chance of in the chance of compromised longevity for this kind of prosthesis if you rehabilitate with removable partial denture. So the third indication is posteriorly edentulous patient with untreated anterior teeth. Then maxillary single complete denture opposing retained mandibular anterior teeth. So in this case also, it is preferably better to go for mandibular overdanger rather than going for a removable dental process or RPD, because there is always chance that this scenario will lead to a case wherein you have learned in your clinical practice, which is called as combination syndrome. That is, on the due course, what happens is there will be papillary hyperplasia of maxillary anterior ridge, as well as a um, supraeruption of lower anteriors, and in due course there will be so many other symptoms which might reduce the prognosis and the longevity of the prosthesis. So, a patient reporting with maxillary single complete danger of piercing a retained mandibular anterior teeth. In that case, it is always better to rehabilitate the mandibular arch with over denture rather than going for a removable partial denture. So that is the next indication for overdanger. And the next one is clinical conditions with compromised retention, like xerostomia, poor residual alveolar ridge. In those cases, and also it is better if you have some remaining natural teeth, please take the support from that remaining natural teeth and give a prosthesis on top of it. Then the patient will be happy. They are the advantages. These are the indications for overdanger. So to sum up, the indications are few remaining teeth with unfavorable distribution, severe loss of periodontal attachment of remaining teeth, posteriorly edentulous patient with attrition of remaining anterior teeth, maxillary single complete denture opposing retained mandibular anterior teeth, and clinical conditions with compromised retention like xerostomia, poor residual alveolar ridge, or cleft cases. These are the areas wherein you will have a compromised retention, and if you are retaining few teeth, there is always a chance that you can provide extra retention because of the retained natural teeth. Contraindications: patients who cannot maintain good oral hygiene, cannot maintain, sorry for the mistakes, cannot maintain good oral hygiene. Then patient with reduced interocclusal space. We had discussed about the interart space or interocclusal space. So patients with reduced interocclusal space. Then severe bony undercuts adjacent to the abutments. If you have a severe bony undercuts, that means what happened with most of the cases are most of the patients come on the late stage or and the verge of complete danger treatment. So most of the time, the remaining natural teeth, they might be periodontally compromised, and they will be most of the time either tipped labially or inclined labially more. So even though if you prepare the tooth to receive an overdenture, because of the inclination, there will be always a chance that you have an undercut on the labial aspect below the prepared tooth. So these are the cases wherein you have a contraindications, as the severe bony undercuts might stop you from modifying your treatment. So this is another contraindication for overdenture. And endodontically and periodontally compromised abutments. So a patient comes to you, wants an overdenture. He had a endodontically treated remaining natural tooth, and there is an calcified canal or one canal missing or something went wrong with endodontics. So in that case also, the probability that that the abutment which you are taking as a support will not run the due course because of the compromised endodontics or the periodontally weak tooth also. If you are incorporating as an abutment, there is always a chance that the longevity of the overdenture will not be uh, got to the full extent because of the periodontal compromise. So these are the contraindications for an overdenture. So to sum up, patients who cannot maintain good oral hygiene, reduced interocclusal space, severe bony undercuts adjacent to the abutments, and endodontics and endodontically and periodontally compromised abutments. So the critical steps in overdanger constructions when you are planning for an overdanger is abutment selection. Under abutment selection, you have to look about the position, the number of abutments. Then you need to evaluate the abutment periodontally and endodontically and the interarch space. These are the criteria or aspects which you should look when you are planning for an overdanger construction. Uh, an ideal abutment for an overdenture is a tooth with gingival tissue which has got a firm pink tightly attached gingiva to the neck of the tooth with a good underlying bone. A tooth has to have this criteria. A sufficient level of alveolar and supporting bone should remain and should be free from any angular bony defects, and the abutment should be definitely root filled and should be free from caries, and the abutment should exhibit a minimal degree of mobility once they have been sectioned 2 to 3 millimeter above the gingival margin. So, they should not have too much of mobility, but slight mobility, it's okay because you are modifying the crown root ratio. So these are the criterias which is be required, which needs to be fulfilled by an abutment if it is to be considered as an abutment for an overdenture. So the gingival tissue should be firm and pink with a good amount of attached gingiva and underlying bone and sufficient alveolar bone. Then root endodontically treated tooth with no caries, and should have only just minimal mobility. It should not be severely mobile even after reducing the crown clinical crown height. So these are the ideal requirements for a tooth if it needs to be considered as an abutment for an overdenture. So regarding the aspects of location and position, straight two canines are considered as the best abutment. That is, straight fulcrum is considered as uh, a better retentive abutment than diagonally positioned abutments. So you can have minimal ideally two abutments are considered as the best, and if they are positioned straight, that is two canines, if it is been there, then that is considered as the ideal tooth for an overdenture construction. Diagonally opposite two tooth are also indicated or considered, but mm, preferably on the two abutments which has got a straight fulcrum is always preferred. And bicuspids are the next probable candidates after canines. In some cases, we also retain maxillary incisors for maxillary overdenture constructions. These are cases wherein the patient has got a partially dentulous lower arch, and the patient is going for a complete denture after extraction of the remaining natural teeth. But to prevent the occurrence of combination syndrome, in some cases we ask the patient to retain the maxillary incisors, and you give an overdenture on top of that remaining maxillary incisors which is been root canal treated. So what happens is the resorption in the anterior aspect of maxillary ridge can be stopped to a certain extent, and the prognosis can be improved. Otherwise, there is always a chance that the patient might end up in combination syndrome. Regarding the number, it is better to stop with two abutments with each abutment on opposing side of the arch. You can have an overdenture with a single abutment, with three abutments, with four abutments. But the problem with increasing the number of abutments is it might complicate the construction of the overdenture. So ideally, it is better to have one abutment each on either side of the arch. To sum up, I would like to say two. Two is the number which is being considered as the best for tooth supported overdenture. You can have three also, but not more than three. In few cases, in the few textbooks, we would like to see we have seen that four abutments considered for an overdenture. But the problem with increasing the number of abutments for an overdenture is that it complicates the construction of the overdenture. Regarding periodontal constructions, the attachment for the abutment should be greater than 5 millimeter, or it should have at least one third of the root within the remaining alveolar bone. So 5 millimeter of attachment, or one third of the root within the alveolar bone on taking an IOPA. So if the tooth is 5 millimeter, there should be at least 3 millimeter of attached gingiva 2 millimeter it goes for sulcus also, it is quite okay. But attached gingiva, or it is best to go with the IOPA. You just see, make sure that one third of the root is remaining in the bone. That is with respect to the periodontal consideration. Regarding endodontic consideration, tooth should be sound with satisfactory root filling. That means the root canal treatment should fulfill all the criteria for a good root canal treatment. That means it should not be short of the apex, or it should not be over obturated. Single rooted teeth are usually preferred rather than multi rooted teeth. And in some cases, since we are talking more regarding mandibular overdentures, or we patient usually complains of lack of retention in mandible, so we try to give overdentures in mandible. So in some cases, you have a maxillary molar, you want an overdenture, you are planning for a diagonal fulcrum line. So what we do is we treat the maxillary molar endodontically, and we do hemisection, and we try to keep it as two separate abutments. So the mesial root will be acting as a one abutment, or a distal root will act as a one abutment, or we just keep one root only. So you can consider a single multi-rooted teeth after hemisection also as a abutment for an overdenture. So these are the endodontic consideration. Regarding the space, always better to mount your cast before your treatment and see there is sufficient space. Ideally, around depending upon what kind of attachment you are giving, you need to think about the space. So if you are planning for any kind of attachment, you require some more space, and you can talk with the laboratory people, laboratory technician or lab people, and finalize the amount of space which is being required for incorporating the attachment as well as abutment preparation, so that you won't have any kind of problem with aesthetics, because aesthetics also plays a crucial role, and the space will should not be a factor in determining the aesthetics. So these are the factors which you will look for when you plan for an overdenture. And moving on with the types of tooth supported overdenture, you can have a bare root surface prepared on the oral cavity, and can give an overdenture on top of that. Then you can have metal copings on the metal copings over the root surface. It is divided into short metal copings as well as long metal copings. Short metal copings are called as dome shape, and it is around 2 to 3 millimeter above the gingival level, and the long copings are called as thimble shaped copings, and it is around 5 to 8 millimeter above the gingival level. Then the other type is attachment based, and you have three category underneath that is stud attachments, bar attachments, and magnetic attachments. So these are the types of tooth supported overdenture. So moving on with attachments, the first one is stud attachments, and under stud attachments you have two types, that is extra radicular attachments and intra radicular attachments. And extra radicular attachments means the attachment pops out of the root, and it extends, it bulges into the oral cavity, whereas intra radicular attachment means the attachment will be within the confined space which you prepare in the remaining root or natural teeth or tooth roots. So you won't have any popping out onto the oral cavity. So under extra radicular attachments you have Sika attachments, and under intra-radicular attachments you have logic and cest attachments. The next is bar attachments. Bar attachments, you have a Heider bar, Dolder bar, and Ackerman and CM bar. So there are three types of bars which can be utilized. So under Heider bar, you have a rectangular bar with a rounded superior ridge, and under Dolder bar, you have a straight bar with parallel sides and a round top. And a round top. And Ackerman and CM bar, you have a round bar. So Heider bar and Dolder bar are a kind of a solid attachment, or a solid in nature, whereas Ackerman and CM bar, since it has been round, will be slightly resilient. So these are the bar attachments. So you have a bar and you have a sleeve which is been there in the prosthesis. So that the retention is provided by this mechanism, frictional mechanism between, or mechanical undercut locking mechanism between this sleeve or a clip as well as the bar. Then the last attachment is magnetic attachments. It consists of a keeper and a danger retention element. The keeper is usually made up of stainless steel and it is cemented into the prepared abutment. And the magnet or the danger retention element is there attached to the dangers, and it is usually paired magnets, cylindrical magnets made of cobalt and samarium with the opposing poles placed adjacent, so that opposite poles usually attract in case of magnet. So these are the different attachments which is being utilized in case of a tooth supported overdenture. When talking about implant supported overdenture, also the implant companies have provided similar kind of attachments which can be placed on top of the implant. So you can have either a bar or stud kind of attachment which can be screwed in, or you can which can be cemented onto the implant, and which will serve the same purpose of retention as what you get from a tooth supported overdenture. So these are the different aspects of overdenture. So you can read more from the textbook, and you can get the pictures of different cross section of the bar from the textbooks. So if you have any doubt, you can WhatsApp me regarding the doubt, and we will just clarify it. With this, I would like to conclude my interactive section on overdangers. This can come as a short note, or probably can come as a short essay. So kindly go through the aspects of overdangers. Please by heart the definition of overdanger, and just go through the indications, contraindications, advantages, disadvantages, and the different types. Here I just have given you an overview regarding an overdanger. As since this is an interactive section, you just go through it, and if you have any doubt, just get back to me. We will discuss it in detail, and we will just clarify it. So thank you once again. Thanks a lot.